Howdy, howdy, fellow movie fans, and welcome back to the Wisco Movie Watchers podcast, brought to you by those Davies boys, also known as Evan and Dylan Davies. What are we covering today, Dylan?
We have a 40th anniversary
Yeah.
of Castle in the Sky.
Yeah, so it's a good old fun time. We're talking more Studio Ghibli. Every time we've talked Studio Ghibli and I've started to watch these films, I get excited because I know I'm more than likely going to have a grand old time watching the movie, and this would be no exception. I think Castle in the Sky is great. So we're going to talk Castle in the Sky. We also, tail end, might talk some Oscars recap, just since we haven't done reactions to that yet. But Castle in the Sky is going to be our big one today. Where do you want to begin with Castle in the Sky? Beyond the fact that your HBO didn't want to work and then you had to delay the show like 2 weeks because HBO was being a pain in the ass for you.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't have that much to say about it. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't to the level of like Spirited Away to me
Okay.
or My Neighbor Totoro. It's a lot more straightforward than those two.
Yes.
So that I think it was a thing of just a little bit too high of expectations. Like figuring in that this is very early for Studio Ghibli.
That's fair. I mean, ironically enough, I'll come back with something completely different. I absolutely love this and adored this, and I think it's now, of the three I've actually seen and watched, it's my favorite Studio Ghibli movie now. I think I liked it more than I liked Howl's Moving Castle. I just think it looks. I didn't realize how much of that Japanese animation style, what we would know as kind of anime esque, because it's very similar to a lot of anime art styles from the 80s. I didn't know how much that just receded into the back of my brain from watching so much Dragon Ball Z as a kid.
Mhm.
But like, there's just such a comfort in watching Castle in the Sky that the second we started watching it, I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. I'm so happy with this right now, and I really loved the classic. It's very Indiana Jones esque to start, pop you right in the middle of the action and just go. There isn't
Yeah.
a there isn't the build up that a lot of movies do. It's let's just pop you right in the middle of the action and go for it, which I really really appreciated. So that was something I found really unique and interesting about the movie is you don't see many animated films. I think that's something I really appreciate with Studio Ghibli is they treat their films more like it's a live action. We have to grab our audience immediately as opposed to the traditional animation style of okay, we're going to set up our characters and we're going to set up this, we're going to set up that, and then the story's going to begin. They kind of just pop you right into the action, have some grand old times with that. So I thought that was interesting. What would you say are some standouts for you from Castle in the Sky then?
I love visually. I think it looks great. I love the title sequence,
Oh yeah, that's
which
great.
which is just pretty. I don't know. It was very cozy to me. The title sequence.
The ultimate
It,
compliment from Dylan is cozy. He
it
said
was
that says
just
a
like
lot.
yeah, a bunch of machinery working. I don't know. I really like that. Um, I did enjoy the movie. I enjoyed the story to it. I think it just lacks um some of the depth that the other Studio Ghibli movies
Like a
have.
thematic depth, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I mean most of the other stuff that I've seen of Miyazaki's, it always goes right over my head, most of it. That's kind of what I enjoy about it.
Is you
Is like
is
I
repeat
don't
watching where you get
understand
more?
yeah, I don't understand everything that's going on. And this one is very straightforward where it's just like until the end it didn't feel like it had a any kind of message to send, which not all movies do. I just go into a Miyazaki movie expecting that now.
Sure. I think what was really interesting is I think this is a more straightforward thematic message than most of his films.
Yeah.
You know, you get one big message throughout, but then you look with a repeat viewing and they're like, oh, what about this and what about this? And it's a really interesting way to kind of handle those things. Where I think what's really interesting, Castle in the Sky, I found it so refreshing to just watch a movie and just be like, wow, really enjoyable. And just that was it. I really appreciated that. Um, I am assuming you watched with a voice dub. You did not watch with the original Japanese with subtitles.
No, I watched Japanese with subtitles.
Oh, okay. See, I can't do subtitles. I
I
talked
can't
about
do not subtitles, honestly.
well, the issue I have, especially with animation, is why would I do that? Because I can't do. I shouldn't say I can't. I really detest doing subtitles because then I find myself I'm not paying attention to the movie. I'm paying attention strictly to the subtitles. And then I lose a lot of the grandeur. I lose a lot of what they're trying to tell me visually because I'm so hyper focused on reading the subtitles. I have to force myself while watching a film with subtitles to do this.
My thing is whenever I, especially animated movies, the thing I always think about is you're getting a performance that wasn't influenced by the director.
Okay,
Because when you have the original cast in Japanese, there's obviously a performance that was made in tandem with a director's vision. But then when you get like an American cast, it's going to be a different director pretty much directing them as to what kind of performance they should do.
that's
So
true.
it's not like the original director's influence on that. That's just one way of looking at it. And I just prefer to watch everything with subtitles. Like, it doesn't matter what. Harry Potter, I'll watch with subtitles, even though I've seen those movies 100 times. I know what they're saying. It's just the way I view things.
Right. No, I'm already looking in our chat and our lovely I know our lovely moderator absolutely loves Studio Ghibli, so she's like both are valid. And she watches an English dub, but Miyazaki has totally contributed to Japanese voice direction in those films. So yeah, that point is extremely valid. Never thought about it from the performance aspect of it. I think it just makes it a more accessible film to people who aren't. I think
Oh,
it's
100%.
same deal where I always found it really odd. One of the weirdest movie experiences I ever had was going to Thailand, and it was 2017. It was for my honeymoon, and Ab and I went to go see Spider-Man: Homecoming, and it came out like 4th of July weekend. We were there over my birthday, and it just been like 7 straight days of like just being inundated in the culture, and it was great. It was the first time I was really away from home in forever, or ever in general. So I was like, you know what, Spider-Man's coming out. Let's go watch. Let's just go to the theater and watch Spider-Man, just so I can get a little reset. And they played the movie in English with Thai subtitles. They didn't do a dubbed version. And I was like, there's no way that would happen in the US as your primary viewing experience. There's certainly places in the US where if it's a
Um,
Japanese film, they'll make it they'll have a screener where it's Japanese with English subtitles, but most of the time they get a dubbed version for you to watch it.
I think I think nowadays you do get a lot of stuff in the original language, which I really enjoy. That's the way I prefer to watch things. I do see the point of like it being way more accessible if it's an English class. Like I'd rather them have an English class version simply because more people will watch it then. Like you're not alienating anyone from like not wanting to watch it. They don't really have an excuse then.
Right.
Um and I do get like with animation there is like a there's not a need to
Right.
have it in the original language.
Right. I mean, the big thing is it always comes down to I never thought I'd be part of a crowd that needs to be part of that accessibility, but it is something I finally figured out where I was like, "Oh no, I'm such a slow reader that when I watch a film with subtitles, I can solely only focus on the subtitles and I barely watch the movie. And I just
Mm.
look at how many things I would have been probably really enjoyed. Whereas if I had to watch Howl's Moving Castle with Japanese and subtitles, I probably would have been like, seemed cool, but I lost most of it because I'm trying to focus on reading and just I'm a slower reader and it's popping so fast in some sequences. I'm like, okay. And it's always behind. a little bit eventually because you just eventually you get into these bigger monologues and things. So you're like, well, why am I still reading this person's part when the other person's talking, kind of thing? And I get it. That's just part of the subtitle game. But it's certainly something in which I think Studio Ghibli in particular, going to getting those voice casts, always does a really good job working with their English counterparts to find voice casts that do a really good job for the part. They don't just do a what if we just got a bunch of they don't do the classic let's just get a bunch of old voice actors but also to save money and vice versa. They also don't do the let's just get a cast that's completely stars that have no bearing on
Yeah.
like for instance, we just talked about in our random movie build that we just recorded on Monday, which will be it'll be released to our YouTube audience after this comes out. But we talked about the Super Mario movie and how most of the voice cast in that to you does not fit Mario. It doesn't
Mhm.
work for the characters. And I've never had that experience with a Studio Ghibli movie where I thought the casting was like interesting. I didn't see that person as that character. And I
S-
really adore the English voice cast of this again.
So, did you watch the 2003 Disney English dub?
Probably.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious to see who is in it.
It's Cloris
So,
Leachman and James Vanderbeek and Anna
it's
Paquin.
James Vanderbeek as Pazu, Anna Paquin as Sheeta. Those that makes me view the whole movie differently, though,
Really?
because to me, those are two people who are definitely adults at that time, and I viewed them as children.
So I will say this: both do a really good. Like you can tell Vanderbeek is giving you a younger voice. You're not getting.
Okay.
So he did a very good job of trying to be like, no, I'm giving you a more innocent toned, childlike voice. I view them as teenagers. I don't view them as children. That's how I kind of saw it.
Okay.
I saw them
Yeah.
like preteen teens. That's how I saw them. And Anna Paquin is also still very young at that time. It's not as if she's like in her 30s when this cast is being done.
I mean, they're both in their 20s. Yeah.
And so I mean also growing up that's how the vast majority of television is made for children that play teenagers is they're actually in their
True.
20s or 30s or how half of animation no one's actually of age ever. Like I think the only person I know in prominent animation that was actually the age of their character or close to when they started voice acting that character was like Mila Kunis when she started doing Meg in Family Guy was still a legitimate teenager. Because you got to work with adults that can actually work. So they get, classic examples of stuff. So but that is something where I understood if someone was going to be like, "Why?" I actually prepared for that question because I was like, Pazu, I do believe is more of like an innocent young teenager, and James Vanderbeek, 1,000% gives you not. I'm James Vanderbeek trying to come to adulthood in Dawson's Creek. He very much gives you the the youngest interpretation of his voice possible, which I thought was really nice. And also, you're
So,
forgetting one great thing. Cloris Leachman was in that cast, and it fucking is great.
yeah, in the original Japanese version, it is a woman voicing Kazu.
Yes.
Um, and then Mark Hamill's also in the American cast.
Yes, it is. That was the only thing. He does a great job. He does such a good job with his voice work that it is not Joker, because obviously that's his most famous voice work.
Yeah.
And arguably the best part he's ever played, including Luke Skywalker, is how well he's voiced the Joker for 30 years. However, because Batman the Animated Series kind of got their core people and recycled them to make sure they had consistent work, they didn't just say, oh, hey, Mark, we're going to bring in for 4 episodes a year. They brought him in and he did a ton of other voice acting roles. He has more of like one of those like standby. voices where he changes his voice to be more of like a this sinister businessman, sinister like he can be soft when he needs to be, but it's very clear it's like snake coiled in the grass ready to strike. And he
Mm,
uses that voice to for this part. And I was like, why do I know that voice at first? Because at first I did a very good job of not looking at the voice cast. But then I was just like, this I know this voice. Why can I not pinpoint it? And the second I looked, I'm like, I've heard this voice 12 times in Deadman animated series, but it's just not the Joker. So,
yeah.
but he does a great job with it. So it's not as if it's a bad performance, but that's the only one where I'm like, it's almost as if because he's a seasoned voice actor, but he does not do. He's not Mel Blanc or like a Jim Cummings who does. Who's most famous for Winnie the Pooh, but he's done so many things, including a part in this. He's done
Hmm.
so many different voices that he can really be a chameleon and do everything. Mark Hamill still doesn't get the chameleon of he can just hide through his part. That was the only thing that brought me out a little bit. I was like, "Oh fuck, it's Mark Hamill. Let's go!" And I was happy about it. And he does a
Hmm.
really good job. But I think you'd have to know Batman the Animated Series to know that voice, which is a subsection of a subsection. Then so
Yeah, I that's one thing about this movie that it both works for it and doesn't work for it because it's so straightforward. It does work for it, but like there's no ambiguity in this villain. Like, it is straight up 100% a villain in this movie. Straight up where he's like, I first off, I love that the guns just look like straight up real
yep.
guns, and they're just pointing them at children the entire time. I was like, yep, that's the '80s for you.
It's also Japanese. The Japan it is so weird. I'm sure they think the same thing about our pop culture. It is so
No, we
weird.
just use real guns.
But it's weird how like when you look at some of the Japanese pop culture stuff that they do that they get away with that there's no way an American pop culture studio could get away with. It's like you can't point real guns point blank at children in an animated film. You can't do
Ironic,
that.
isn't it?
But well, exactly, it's very ironic as to what you're actually echoing and saying. But then there's other stuff that like they won't even touch, and you're like, what's the big deal about that? Like, who cares? But then there's other stuff that it's wildly different from what we would accept as American viewers, and
Mhm.
it's so different, and it's like refreshing to us because we don't see it, but also at the same time we're like, God damn, it's so clear that that army is influenced by the Soviet Union, North Korea, and Nazi Germany. Like all three of them are in those
Yeah,
outfits. And they don't hide the fact that like no, we're trying to tell you this is an evil Gestapo style military that
yeah.
hates
I
its own
mean,
citizenry.
besides that one character who doesn't have any nuance, one of the things I really like is even in the earliest um, Studio Ghibli stuff, no one is like a caricature of someone.
Sure.
Like even the people who they set up to be the villains, which are the pirates at the very beginning,
Right.
like eventually they have like kind of a heel turn and then become likable.
Yeah.
It like that's how I almost every single Studio Ghibli movie does that, where like you're not really sure how you're supposed to feel about these people, and then they reveal themselves as either extremely likable or uh, kind of problematic. Uh,
I think that's what makes this really, really interesting in the fact that it's the first time because I was starting to get used to Studio Ghibli now, since we're covering it on a more regular basis and I'm watching it on a more frequent basis, that within by the second scene of the Pirates, I was like, they're turning babyface. Like these are baby faces because I, like you said, that's kind of what they do. It's one of their trademarks, but it's out of. But what I don't want to say it's too obvious. Yeah, the pirates just want to steal, but they don't want to commit war crimes. I love them. That's what Ash says, which is hilarious because it's true. they'll take all the stuff they want, but they don't want to
Oh
just
yeah,
kill people to do it.
yeah.
They
They're
don't.
doing it. They're definitely doing it out of greed more than anything. Yeah.
Right. They want the shit, but they don't want to commit mass murder to get it, which is so fun.
Mhm.
But what I love is I've been following more accounts of cinema, like one on Instagram is cinema how to, I think. And they go through scenes with diagrams. So they just did a breakdown of the scene in Back to the Future, where they're saying how the camera's position and where the actors are in the scene. What is that actually telling you about the scene visually? So you not only understand it through dialogue, you understand it visually through feeling. And what I think is really smart in a similar way, even in animation style, is when they want a villain to be likable, they never, even when they do heinous things, they never allow them to be seen in a light that is irredeemable. Or
Mhm.
vice versa, when they're building the pirates in this, what is her name? Oh God, it's the head pirate. She's voiced by Cloris Leachman, but she is so ungodly likable immediately that I was just like, she's going to be central to this plot for good. She's not going to be a heel. I just because the way she's presented is just way too much endearing, fun, and enjoyable. There was almost a even in her Dola. Thank you, Ashley. Like Dola is just so enthusiastically fun during that like minecart chase that there's no way she's gonna get booed. So let's just cheer. You know, they do a really good job of making it clear like you're not cheering for her in the moment, but we're gonna make it so that you will accept this very quickly later on for when we need her to turn. And I really appreciate that. They always do a really good job of setting those things up. Or when they do a good job of with ambiguity of making you believe it could go either way. And then 99 times out of 100, they turn to do a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yeah. Most Studio Ghibli movies where they have a darker character most of the time is just like someone who's misunderstood.
Oh, yeah.
That's the majority of them. This villain doesn't have that at all. He's just straight up a villain the entire time.
Yeah.
Just a complete asshole.
Well, the thing is, it's more of that like sniveling. I don't know if the twist works completely for me. I think if you're going to try to get me to criticize this film, the twist of him being the villain that also has ancestry to um oh my god, now I'm blanking on the goddamn name of the society. Oh my god.
Lapatu,
Yeah,
is that it?
Laputa. Uh Laputa. My apologies. Laputa. Yeah, I think this movie handles it by having two characters represent the same ancient culture. Yeah, so Shida and Muska. Yeah, I just think Muska's turn to all of a sudden the reveal works because then it allows you to understand why he knows so much about this ancient society. He's an adult that's grown up with this ancestry. So he's done all his research to try to rediscover it. But at the same time, it comes in such a sudden moment that you're like, how the fuck does he know all this shit? Like, how would he know? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay. It does come on a little quickly. There's not enough. I don't know if there's enough breadcrumbs to make that as successful as it could be. And also, he has no visual distinction, throughout to say like he doesn't have a weird marking, he doesn't have weirder hair or something like that to make you think, or he doesn't have some weird piece of jewelry to make you think like, there's something different about that guy.
Yeah.
He's just
I
a sniveling spy businessman. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's a medical maniac with ancestry ties to Laputa. Like, okay, cool.
yeah. I One of the things I always admire about Miyazaki is it seems like the Japanese are way more willing to kind of reckon with the dark past of their country, especially when they're telling stories to children,
Yeah.
way more than Americans are.
No.
Like,
Are you saying we struggle to do
when's,
that?
when's the last time you saw an American animated movie do anything that's, you know, even remotely as um, interesting or as nuanced as something in Spirited Away, where it's like
I don't
you're
know if
dealing
there's
with
ever been a piece of animation that's
we
that
just yeah
complex. Like all due
I
respect, like I think there's obviously wonderful, wonderful animated films, but in terms of complexity, I truly don't know if an American animated film
oh,
has ever been as complex as Spirited Away or some of the other Studio Ghibli
yeah
movies.
we have a very strong tendency to talk down to children,
Right.
whereas that doesn't seem to be the case for Japanese movies, which I really appreciate. Because like I think of Spirited Away, I think of this, I think of like Grave of the Fireflies, which is another extremely dark, sad
I'm
movie.
actually very excited to watch that because when I started reading a little bit, I was like, I'm really excited to watch that because of how dark it is
Yeah,
said to be.
it's very sad, and like I think of those, and I'm like, those are doing way more complex things in movies that are technically for children than any like American movies do.
Well, I mean, I think you have the cultural differences. I mean, look at what a Japanese school does with children versus what American schools do. You know, we as an American society, we fail kids by not allowing them to do enough and yet expecting them to do too much as we're actively babying them in a lot of ways. It's as someone who sees it every day in a practical sense, where some of the stuff they know, I'm like, you're talking to me like you're 12 years old, attitude wise, but yet you have the emotional bandwidth at 6 or 7 that I did at 4. And I think that's more of a reflection of the society you were brought. I don't think it's a reflection of that kid because I'm seeing it in too many kids. And it's not
Mhm.
like oh, Evan was so much better than them. It's no, I was just like, I was raised 30 years or 25 years prior to them. And there was at least
Yeah,
there was some semblance of I was behind in some ways and they're ahead of me in terms of how quickly they've been exposed to the world and how quickly they've picked up on other things that I wouldn't pick up on. But at the same time, they don't have the emotional learning capabilities that I did, or that the vast majority
yeah.
of the millennials that got that last vestige of old school teaching had. So
Yeah, the only one movie I can think of that did anything remotely close is Coco, and that's not even American culture, that's Mexican culture.
yeah,
So it is like we just straight up don't even attempt to do anything like it.
I think what's weird is a I think you hit the nail on the head of reflecting on our past. I think American culture can make movies for children. It becomes the family movie. It stops becoming the child movie. And we've made that distinction in the past. But they can make complex films covering one topic. Like, for instance, Up does an amazing job of introducing the concept of grief and does a good job showcasing that. Or similar, Coco shows grief and the idea of legacy and death very well to children in a way that is not talking down to them. It's just telling them the realities of the situation through this fantastical presentation. But that's the message. And that's really good. But we do really small by comparison, these are huge topics, especially for children. But by comparison, we don't do the grand reflections. We do the let's talk about this topic and let's master that topic in this film, but it doesn't have the backing to keep going because those are more one-offs as opposed to the consistency. You know, now we're getting stuff of all due respect, I'm very excited to be watching Super Mario Galaxy in 2 weeks time. I think now, yeah, it's less than 2 weeks for me to go see that movie because I got one of the early screenings of it. And actually, it's a midnight screening. I'm really excited. I'm getting a midnight screening for the first time in forever. So that's going to be fun. But, you know, that's the fare that Americans are giving children now is, I don't know, let's just go have a fun romp with Mario. That
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
It
there
would just
isn't.
be nice. It would be nice to see, like I think of like back in the '80s where you had competing animated studios going up against each other.
Yeah.
They all had a different vibe. We don't have that anymore. Like Disney, Pixar, Sony,
Illumination with
they
DreamWorks and
they
Universal.
all have the same vibe, where it's just fun family themes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like no one's ever doing anything super interesting for the most part.
You know what I think it is? And this is going to be a sweeping statement. So I'm saying this right now, so there will be some ignorance blended in, but I think there's some semblance of truth to it. Is I do not want to make it seem as though I'm an expert on Japanese culture and that I know everything that happens in a Japanese culture. But the Japanese, the general way that people learn about Japanese culture is their society is a flip of ours, where ours is individual, then family, then society. We always think individually first, and then
Hmm.
we go down to society. Though it's the inverse there, where your first responsibility is to society at large, which includes your family. Those are the two big ones, and then you have responsibility to yourself. And what I
Yeah,
think is a really interesting concept to try to understand that is how often American films deal with the idea of family because it's such a lost connection for so many people. So many people in our society feel lost. And I'm not saying people in Japan don't feel lost individually in comparison to their families or anything like that, but just from the inverse of the way things are taught, the way things are done, it seems very much they have a lot of stuff of let yourself flourish because you're not allowing yourself to do enough. Where we have a lot more of let yourself flourish, but commit to somebody, commit to a group, embrace the love that you have in your life kind of thing. It's a very interesting vibe. You don't see those two things breached very well in a similar vein with Japanese filmmaking like a Ghibli does versus a Disney, an Illumination, a Sony, whatever you want to say. I think that's a really interesting way to say it because I do want to go back to one thing you said, but I think that's just the way it is.
yeah. I mean, the only time we ever really see um, stories reckoning with the American past, like some of the darker stuff in our past, is when someone of a minority group gets a chance to make a movie that is totally theirs.
Right.
Like
Or half the time it's a,
like I would say Sinners is a good example of that,
yeah,
where Ryan Coogler is making a movie directly towards the black community. It's dealing with the reckoning of how America has dealt with people of color, like,
correct.
and how they have kind of dapped off their culture and then made it their own.
Right.
Like, that's the only time you get that is when someone has a chance to make a movie that's completely their own. And that's what's nice about Miyazaki is like it doesn't seem like he's ever answering to anyone except himself,
Well, it's
which
also interesting, I
that's
think,
refreshing.
to that point. It's amazing when you do see some semblance of coherence of reflecting on the past. Half the time, it's like a foreign filmmaker talking
Yeah,
about the US and with like an unbiased lens, and they try to find a way to make it work.
yeah,
Half the time, it's not a true American filmmaker going, okay, I want to make a complex movie about what this was and why this was and reflecting upon it. And I think, I mean, look, we have a we have a society and a presidency right now that has a zero semblance of responsibility, zero semblance of reality, and zero semblance of being able to look themselves in the mirror and just say what's true. I mean, we're
oh, they're actively trying to erase
correct because they don't
or
want to confront
or,
it.
or ignore large swaths of our history that make us look bad, even though that's exactly what we should be doing,
Yeah.
is recognizing those things and learning from them.
Well, also it's such a weird thing of, I've been to my trips to Virginia have been very illuminating to me of all things in this topic because I had a two-pronged effect with this. We went first, it was the first year we were on the East Coast. And so for my birthday, we went over to Shenandoah National Park. And on the way, because we have the national parks book, we try to get as many passport stamps we can. We stopped at Manassas Battlefield Park, and it's one of the bigger battlefields from the Civil War. And I got so upset within the first 25 minutes that while or within the first 20 minutes, that while Ab had like we had driven for like 2+ hours, so we finally stopped, and Ab's like, "Oh, hey, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom quick. Can you just like go get the stamp, and then let's look around and see what we're gonna do." We barely spent 20 minutes there because I went into the gift shop and they were selling, because it was Civil War. They were selling kids Confederate jackets and hats, and I was like, absolutely not. There was a statue to Stonewall Jackson out in the field nearby the center. And Ab got out of the bathroom and I said, "We're out of here." She's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "No, I read a couple placards. I saw it was in the gift shop. I know for a fact this is fucked." So then I hawked a loogie, spit it on Stonewall Jackson statue, and we left. Because I was like, if you're not even going to try to pretend,
Well,
I'm not
the
going to
thing
do
is,
this.
I have no problem with those things as long as there's also something explaining the true history of those
And
things.
I don't think they did a great job, which is
If they're
flabbergasting to me.
if they're just glorifying people that shouldn't be glorified, yeah, I completely agree on
Well, that's
that.
the other thing is I'm sorry, you can't sell that shit to kids and just be like,
That's a weird thing that's always been in the South, though, for some odd
because
reason.
the South is fucked, and that's why this is the problem. But then 2 years later or so, or maybe 3 years later, whatever, we went and did a road trip through some of the South, went to Great Smoky Mountain, went through Tennessee and Virginia and West Virginia, and we stopped at Cedar Creek and Bell Grove. And granted, we were there at a right time, but it's a former plantation, and that
Mhm.
had slaves, and we're like, okay, let's we needed to stop because it was like 4+ hours of like nothing. So we're like, okay, let's stop, let's get it, let's try it. And there was an archaeology team that had been there that was working with one of the universities in the area. And they did a really good job of saying, no, this is the impact of what happened here. This is what did take place. This is how these people lived. This is how the slave owners lived. And then really talking about the impact of it. And instead of trying to pretend like it was bad sometimes, but we're okay now. They're like, no, this is the impact of what we're still feeling. And it was a really well done reflection of what the past was. And it was so interesting because I went in with -100 expectations because of Manassas. And then I was like, this is one of the best places I've ever been to in terms of actually reflecting on things.
Yeah,
I mean, look, we're doing the stupid America 250 campaign because we have the biggest joke of a president and leaders right now, that we're celebrating our 250th birthday as a country with the biggest joke of a leader we can have, right? And not being able to reflect. Meanwhile, kids' movies from the fucking 80s in Japan are reflecting upon their flawed culture that happened 40 years prior and even beyond that. And you're like, the fuck are we doing? Like, why can't we do this shit? It's not that complex. Just admit
well,
the truth, teach people so we learn from it, and move on.
the reason we don't do it in movies is because it's too risky for a studio to take, and they're scared of losing money, like always.
Well,
That's just the fact of it. Unfortunately, I
studios are a bunch of
wish
bitches.
I wish animation was a little bit more like independent film where you could do these things, but animation is such a process that it takes, a huge crew and a huge budget to do these things. That's one of the downfalls of animation is like it takes a lot of talented people and a lot of money and a lot of time to make these things
Very
to
true.
where studios go, we're not going to risk it. Why would we do that? And I don't know, it is kind of a downfall of American culture in that sense.
Oh, absolutely. Now let's get back to Castle in the Sky because it's opened up a great philosophical question, but I do want to cover some stuff from the film in large. Just I think what's really fun is this isn't Miyazaki's like first go at it, but this certainly is earlier Miyazaki as opposed to later Miyazaki. Seems like Miyazaki definitely has more of a career arc similar to Steven Spielberg, in which they made movies that were fun and really enjoyable, and they still at heart they still said a lot. But then as he settled into the middle of his career and the tail end of his career is when he did much deeper meaning things to him. And what I love here is I love the youthful enthusiasm that is made in this film. Just I absolutely adore uh, some of the logic, but also some of the design work. Like the fact that facial hair just stands out because the animation is just of a certain kinetic quality is really fun. I think
The the like father on the pirate ship,
yeah.
he is like the same exact character that is in Spirited
I was
Away.
gonna say he has the exact same facial look and
Look
everything.
look wise, it's I was like, oh, that's weird,
I did think
but
that that might be like a. I wouldn't be shocked if that was a person in Miyazaki's life that when he can, he just kind of he puts that into
yeah,
this to be like, no, this is what I'm thinking, and that's like his cartoony rendition of that person because it was way too close.
yeah. I mean, I don't mind it. I actually like it.
Oh, I do too.
Um, the the
Like,
only other problem I had with it, just to bring it up real quick, is it is very odd where all the guys are like fawning over Cheetah, even though she's like clearly young.
yeah,
Like, this is weird.
that's why it was such a strange thing because there's that weird like Japanese schoolgirl obsession culture to a degree,
Yeah.
especially too in a Western
I'm
society.
I'm glad that's kind of vanished, or it's seemingly vanished at least.
I don't think it's vanished so much as it's just gone underground because enough people can go, what the fuck? Like, the fuck,
It's
guys?
definitely odd, yeah.
But yeah, I think A, it's more of a semblance of the time. And it's also why I try to be like, because it was, I didn't view them as kids. I viewed them as preteens and teens. I'm like, I want to make it clear, not acceptable.
Yeah, because I viewed them as like 10, 11. I was like, this is odd.
Yeah, I viewed them
Maybe
more
that's
as
not. I'll
teenagers
look up
because of that.
what. Yeah, I'm gonna look up what the actual age of the people
You
are.
should do that so we both have that standing. But yeah, I just love the youthful exuberance in this film. Like the exploding shirt fight. So fun because it's so dumb and it's just a lot of
Um,
interesting fun.
both protagonists are 13 years old,
That is exactly what I was gonna guess. Was they were
and Adola's sons are between their 20s and 30s.
ugh ooh, tough. I will say that's another complaint I would have is I didn't like that. I was like, why are you fawning over this girl? Like, come on.
I mean, there was clearly like a Oedipus kind of thing too,
Yeah.
where like as soon as the mom said, "Oh, she's gonna turn into a woman just like me," they're all like, "Snap!" and they're like, "Yep, we're going
Yeah,
after." It was
certainly.
very that part I laughed at,
I
but
think that's the funny part is that I think it's a great setup for the joke and the joke's great. But then the ramifications of that are like,
yeah, yeah,
and not like it's fine because they were all so clearly obsessed with their mother that it's like it's part of the humor and it's interesting. But then yes, at the same time you're like, guys, it's a 13-year-old
and
girl. Like, don't be so
that is
excited to
a
try to repeat that. God damn.
that yeah, that is a fantastic joke of like all the sons like tumbling into the kitchen trying to help her, and then all the other people are already there.
Yeah.
Like that's a very solid joke. I love that. It's just weird when you put it into
Not yeah, it's not
context.
age appropriate for it. But it is certainly something that is interesting. But yeah, I think there's just so many great moments of I think that's one of the reasons I loved it is Hi Loop is this I would assume you would share this sentiment. It's such an innocent film in a really refreshing and nice way that it's all youthful exuberance. Let's just go have an adventure,
Yeah,
have
yeah.
some fun. And I love the scene when they get through the storm and they make it to Lapita, and the two of them are just so exuberantly excited. And in American
Yeah.
culture, they would definitely try to do like the young couple made it through. Let's kiss. Let's do this. Let's do that. They don't do that. They're just
Mhm.
so goddamn excited that they're like, I have to just hug something. I have to do something. Like I
Yeah.
loved that moment. I love those
Pazu
films.
definitely Pazu definitely has like young Gohan vibes to
A
him,
little bit, yeah,
where it's just like crazy off the wall energy.
yeah.
I love it. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed the movie. I wouldn't say it's in my top three of Studio Ghibli movies I've seen. I haven't seen that many of them, honestly.
I'm not gonna lie. Just assume we're gonna watch them all for this show because I a
Well,
they'd give us something different to talk about, and b they're really enjoyable. So
yeah, I've yet to see The Boy and the Heron, which won Best Animated Feature, which is like that's why I need to watch it because I try to watch all of them of Oscar winners. So that's one that I definitely do want to watch at
okay.
some point.
Well, yeah. I
That's
mean,
2022, I want to say.
23, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, I've never seen Totoro. I want to watch Kiki's Delivery Service. I haven't seen Princess Mononoke, which I believe is in a anniversary year, if I recall correctly. So maybe we'll
I'll
do
look
Princess
it up.
Mononoke. But yeah, I mean, over time, we're going to be doing all Studio Ghibli because it's
Princess
been
Mononoke is 97.
97. I knew it was 96 or 97.
Kiki's Delivery Service is 89. Totoro is 88.
Yeah, I knew Totoro was 88. So, I mean, we will. And then, what's Grave of the Fireflies? It's that one. I didn't look it up. It just sounded super interesting because of the how dark it was meant to be.
It
Different director.
is.
Okay, not it's not a
Uh,
Miyazaki film, but
it's 88.
okay.
I don't even know if it's Studio Ghibli.
Huh.
I just know it's Japanese animation, but I don't know if it is Ghibli or not.
Interesting. Yeah. Thanks for the point out on that one, Ash. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think I just loved how bright and light and fun that this movie is. I would highly recommend it. This was the certainly. I also think this is a great entry point to get people into Studio Ghibli because it's such an
I would agree.
inviting film to get people to go.
You know, might be a good way of looking at this movie is what if Short Round became Indiana Jones for one movie?
Yeah, kind of. It's not
Because
wrong.
it definitely has Indiana Jones vibes
That's another reason why I like it so much.
with like the very, very black and white bad guys, the army, and then you have like weird fantastical elements, but not totally fantastical.
Right.
I really, yeah, looking at it through that lens, it is fun.
Interesting. Now I'm also looking at a comment here because um, Grave of the Fireflies is Isio Takahata or Seio Takahata. And Ash's comment is basically the second prolific Ghibli director, good friend of Miyazaki, probably one of the few people he respected. So
Okay, so it is Ghibli. Okay.
it's still Ghibli, but it's not Miyazaki. But it is certainly an interesting. I think that's some of that's another comment I had towards in general to foreign film is generally speaking, audience members only get the best of foreign film. They just don't get every foreign film.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I think it's really easy as a foreigner to say you love foreign film because you usually only get the best shit. Like if you were only getting the top 5 movies every year of American culture, it'd be really easy to be like, yeah, like if I'm not saying these are the greatest of all time, but let's just take 2025 for example. If you said if you were from, pick a country, Thailand, for example, you love American film, and the American films that you got, and this isn't even technically American, some of them, but was Sinners, one battle after another, 28 years later, and then add like F1 for some action, and
Well,
then,
more likely you'd be getting Minecraft movie,
right.
Lilo and Stitch, Jurassic World Rebirth. Those are technically the movies you would be getting
Yeah, but let's say you were
because
only getting those movies. That's essentially what Americans do when they're like, I just love foreign film. I love Japanese film. It's like, oh, because you only pick the five best movies from every year. You're not actually going and just
yeah.
getting your standard fare from Japan or
I
vice
mean, the
versa,
only most of the foreign films I watch are because they were nominated for Oscars, which is an American award show.
which already has kind of a stamp of approval of their quality generally.
Yeah, yes.
So I think that's a
So
really interesting vibe. Now, quick, we'll transition out of Castle in the Sky. Just some quick notes. How are you feeling Oscars wise? It's been, as of recording, only a couple days, but as of release, a
I
week later.
I thought they nailed it, most of it. I did miss quite a bit of it. I missed like the first hour because I was snow blowing, which sucks, obviously. But I was like,
Oh, you mean
was
the blizzard of 2026? Yeah,
yeah. I in terms of predictions, I only got two wrong, so it was pretty predictable
yeah,
in my mind. The one that surprised me was casting. I was glad to see Michael B. Jordan win.
yes,
That was nice. I really was. I haven't seen Marty Supreme yet, so I can't really judge it against it because I thought it was between him and Chalamet. Um, I do think it was weird that they only performed certain songs and not every single one.
yeah. Did
I have no problem with that, but
Well, which songs did they perform? I saw the Sinners performance because Ab saw it and she's like, "You need to watch this." I was like, "Okay, I'll watch it." But
the only two I saw were Golden and um, Sinners.
oh,
I Lied to You.
yeah,
So I think they only did two.
which is interesting.
And to be fair, the other three really weren't from movies that anyone saw. Like, I have it here. One was from Diane Warren Relentless, which is a documentary about Diane Warren, who always gets nominated for an Oscar whenever she writes anything.
Yep.
And then the other one was from Viva Verity, never heard of it. And then the other one was from Train Dreams, which was nominated for Best Picture, but it's like definitely the smallest movie
Sure,
to be nominated. Like I would guess of the people who watch the Oscars, 5% of them have seen Train Dreams.
sure.
Like, have you even heard of it?
I had heard of it because of the preview episode, and that was it. So I'm not gonna say
Okay.
I was super educated. No.
Yeah. I really loved it, honestly. That's probably my third favorite of the nominees.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely a smaller movie.
Interesting. I think that's the goes back again. Ironically, this was the year that they could have cut down. I think they helped cut the show down by not putting those three songs in because they had three that they're like, I don't think people are gonna miss it. But if we don't play Golden and we don't play I Lied to You, people are gonna be upset.
Yep.
So I also really love the fact that when I didn't see the Golden performance, but I saw the Sinners performance, they had
It was
like the
good.
whole cast up there doing half the number with them, and then threw in
Oh,
some
yeah,
different
Golden only
people.
had the three people.
Yeah, I mean,
That makes sense.
it makes sense, but I was flabbergasted that they tried to recreate part of it with the actual cast members of Sinners as opposed to just you know dancers and background actors and things of that nature. So
Yeah,
thought that was really interesting.
um I thought it was good. Definitely one of the better Oscars. I will say, in terms of jobs that I never want, right up there with like politician, air traffic controller, stuff like that. The person who is in charge of muting the mic and lowering it, That's definitely a job that gets added to that list.
You don't want to have
Because
to be
there,
the one to cut people off and play them off.
because there's always like every single year there's a controversy where it's like, oh, they muted them, they didn't let them talk, and that happened this year with the Golden team that won for best song. Like, I- it's a job that's hard because you were told to make the show as short as possible, but also you don't want to be a fucking
Well,
asshole.
also, I mean, all due respect, now I'm going to sound like Johnny Company Man. Does anyone really care?
That's why I think what they should do, they should tell everyone you have this amount of time. You can elect as many people as you want to speak as long as it's within that time frame. And then if you still want to give a longer speech, longer thanks, go backstage and start talking then. And like they should have a complete like maybe
A podium and a press box there with that.
well yeah, and like a stream behind the Oscars. Where it's like
Especially
if
with
you
the
want to
technology
check
that we have now, that's like the free YouTube stream.
yeah, like if you want to check out the longer acceptance speeches and the longer acknowledgments, that's a way of doing it. That would also cut down on time.
Yeah, it's wild because again, I've been rewatching Light and Magic, and they show a couple of the ILM teams that won for best special effects back in the day, and
Mm-hmm.
my favorite, because it's quote a speech, is all four guys from Star Wars just like thank you, and they each just go in a line just saying thank you and nodding their heads, and then they just leave. They don't even
I would
say
be
anything.
I'd be willing to bet if you broke it down by averages, visual effects teams are probably the shortest acceptance speeches. They're always pretty efficient with it.
Yeah, it's or there was one where when Raiders of the Lost Ark won, and Dennis Muren is kind of leading the charge. He's just like, we want to thank this and we want to thank Steven Spielberg for excellent direction. And they each just the four members all kind of go, thank you, and they just leave. That's it. They don't do
That's
the
how most
we,
that's how
there's
most of the visual effects teams do it. Yeah.
and I mean, granted, I think there's some more semblance of reality to what they're doing, and but also
Well, they also don't feel the need to circle jerk themselves.
yeah,
Like you look at like I like him as an actor, but Adrian Brody's speech last year went on for like 4 minutes. It's like, dude, you gotta realize no one cares about this as much as you do personally.
yeah. And I saw a clip of Pacino when he finally won for Scent of a Woman. I didn't see the whole acceptance speech, but my favorite thing is the whole crowd starts standing up because they finally realize, oh my god, he actually won. Like
Yeah,
it stops being the oh yeah, Al's always going to get nominated because we know he's so good. Like everyone gets kind of emotional because like oh my god, he actually won, and the first thing out of his mouth is you guys broke my streak. Like it's some humor that's much needed in that moment for him to finally for everyone to be
yeah.
like it is an award. It's not like
Yeah, this year it also didn't help that there was multiple standing ovations that went on because like Michael B. Jordan got one
yeah,
because it just felt like yeah, this is the right time for him to win. Paul Thomas Anderson got one because finally he won an Oscar,
right.
and then also Ryan Coogler got one
Yeah.
just again because it felt like yeah, this is the right time for him to win something
Yeah, he
finally.
deserves it.
So like it in terms of time, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But also, it's undeniable that the Oscars do go long every single year.
Again, two-night event. Let us produce this. Also, I
I
found out
wouldn't.
the guy who produces the show itself is a British dude who also has done the last like 20 Super Bowls. Like this the
Makes
halftime show
sense.
of the Super Bowl. And it's just an interesting, okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that idea of doing a 2 night thing. I do think you could easily just be more strict with your rules, but
I mean, I think they do have rules. Just a lot of people don't accept them, and they're like, oh, "I can get away with it and whatever." And it's no one has the balls. You know what you have to do? Mentioning it, you have to cut Adrian Brody off. You have to start
Yeah.
playing him off because it's like,
Well, they
no,
try.
when you do it,
They try, and then he goes, "No, no, no, cut the music," and then he just kept going on and on.
I don't know, man.
He had a good,
No
he
speech
had
is as good as McConaughey's when he made no sense about how he was his own hero, and that was
a,
awesome. And it's
that
awesome
was a,
because it makes no sense and it's great.
I understood it, but also it's like that was a fucking awful speech,
Oh,
dude.
I know. It's just one of my favorite things of all time because it's just such a I'm Matthew McConaughey and I drive a Lincoln. It's so great.
Yeah.
It's so
I In terms of winners, I was 100% correct. If you're on a Del Toro movie and you're nominated for one of the Guild Awards, makeup, hairstyling, costume, production design, you're most likely going to win,
yeah, you will win. Yeah.
and they did. Um, Sinners won cinematography, first woman to win.
Oh, nice.
That's nice. Um, no other big surprises though, really.
Was there a surprise at all, really? I didn't see anything that I was like, whoa.
I think Michael B. Jordan's not too much of a surprise, only because he had just won the acting award, the
Sure.
SAG award. Um, but up until that point, he had not won anything. So that
I mean, who was winning?
um,
Who was winning before him?
Chalamet
Chalamet.
and
Also, can we talk about something quick? Why is everyone so ready to crown this kid the uncrowned king?
well, now
Jesus,
everyone's all pissed off at him
but
because he
no,
said that ballet and opera don't matter. And to his point, most people don't care about it. I mean, I don't agree with that. Like
I think they matter in terms of an art form, but they don't matter in my zeitgeist of care.
I think there's a lot of virtue signaling where it's like people should be going, "This is what I should be saying," and
Yeah,
then they go out and say, "You're wrong, Timothy Chalamet." But most people have not seen an opera. Most people do not go to the ballet.
I have zero interest in going to an opera, and I have about a 1% interest in going to a ballet. So I'm not here
Exactly.
throwing stones, being like, "Oh, I think Timothy Chalamet is an asshole for belittling these art forms." It's like no one 99.9% of the population doesn't care about these art forms. And it's not out of disrespect. It's just they don't grab people that way. I mean, like, I'm sorry. It's not a thing that is that important to people. But I just saw under another groundswell of all these people online of like, don't worry, Timothy, you'll get one eventually. We all know you deserved it. Like he's Leonardo DiCaprio. It's like DiCaprio was putting out fucking performances for 25 years to a point
Yeah.
that were great, and he finally got one. And also, he had one like an undeniably great performance just a couple years beforehand that everyone's like, it's gotta be the one finally, and he didn't win.
Yeah.
So then when he finally did, everyone's like, thank you. It's kind of like when Spielberg finally won for Best Director. Everyone's like, we've known this for 20 years. Why can't we do
Mhm.
this? And
Yeah.
like Chalamet's
Um,
barely been in the picture, you know?
he'll win one eventually. It's fine.
Exactly. But I was like, he's not like, also, all due respect, and I know I'm not the biggest Dune fan in the world, but Timothy Chalamet is not leading these big projects that are really sweeping pop culture most of the time. He's not.
No, but I don't know. I prefer his way of acting more than a lot of people's, where it's like he does at least mix things up a bit.
Yeah. No, there's a
Um,
respectability to what he does. I'm just sick of this little pipsqueak being the internet's fucking darling of like, he's the uncrowned king and I'm so sad. I'm like, fuck off. Shut up.
it was nice to see horror movies get a shout out finally.
Yeah.
Amy Madigan won Best Supporting Actress. Love that. That was my choice for who I wanted to win and should win.
Yeah.
So I was glad to see that. Um, Sean Penn winning for supporting actor. Don't love that.
I like the fact that he didn't show up. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, he straight up was just like, nah, not doing it. Apparently, he was in Ukraine though, so that's at least respectable.
I will say the football podcast I listened to. One of them, his host, one of the hosts, his wife is in the industry, and then the other one is always he's dabbled in screenwriting, and that's part of the reason he moved to L.A. was to get in the movie business, and just kind of happened to always just find his niche in sports writing. And they were talking Oscars, and he's like, "Let's be honest here, guys. Anyone who's mad about this, isn't it better that we were all spared, regardless of your politics, whether you like his politics or not? Aren't all? Can we all agree that it's better that we didn't have a Sean Penn acceptance speech?" I
I
was
would
like,
agree with that.
"Yeah, true."
Sean Penn is one of the most dislikable people who I agree with on most
It's
things.
a Bono feature. It's really like most of
Yeah,
the time
that's true.
when I look at
Yes,
Bono and I just look at his messaging, or I just look at the core of what he's trying to say. 99 times out of 100, I agree with Bono. He's trying to be kind to people. He's trying to be respectful. He's saying you should love each other. He's saying you should do all this stuff. But there's just something about the way he says it and the way he does it that you're like, just shut the fuck up.
yeah, a little too self-important. Yeah,
And Sean Penn certainly has that to him, so which is interesting. I mean, he's undeniably a great actor, but it's just I don't think it was bad that we lost out on Sean Penn as an acceptance speech.
I would agree. But he became another person to win three. So
Hey, talented guy.
he is talented. Oh, can't deny that.
Oh yeah,
Other than that, yeah, I mean, it was pretty predictable, honestly.
yeah. Well,
Although I will say, the guy who does the Sinner score, Ludwig Göransson,
yeah,
he's starting to become John Williams. Where if he does something that year, he's gonna be nominated,
he
and there's a
does.
good chance he'll
He
win.
does good shit, dude. He's a
Yeah, that's
really
true.
great composer. He's a great composer.
I didn't love Sinners that much in terms of a score, but yeah, Oppenheimer is like ridiculously good.
He's done so many good scores that people don't even realize. But at the same time, like, yeah, I mean, like, I can't tell you the score to Sinners. I couldn't. You could play it now, and I probably couldn't even tell you it's Sinners. And I love that movie.
I probably could just because it does sound very uh
Or I might be able to base it off of vibe, but I wouldn't be confident in my choice.
yeah.
So that is something that is certainly interesting to say the
But then
least.
again, none of the scores this year were fantastic.
Yeah,
Like there's nothing that was like, wow, this is gonna be a standout for years to come. Nah.
true. Also, updates for possible 2027 Oscars. I w- I really hope that we're going to see Jessie Buckley for The Bride. She's so good in that movie.
I'd be willing to guarantee not gonna happen.
I know it's too early. It's not there and whatever, but she's so good. She's so good in The Bride.
And that's also not the right movie that will have like a resurgence
Yeah.
in a, 9
Well, also,
months.
I was flabbergasted how poorly it did. It did really poorly at the box office.
Oh yeah.
So I don't have high hopes, but I don't want that performance to go by the wayside because it's so good. And also just saw
Straight
Project Hail Mary, Gosling, great performance here.
not the right type of performance.
Oh, I know.
But you never know.
It, hey, we've seen some performances that everyone goes, huh? Get nominated.
Yes.
So
100%. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Meryl Streep got nominated for Into the Woods. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that was the most ultimate. Well, Meryl Streep worked this year, so she gets nominated. You're like,
Okay,
fuck off.
here's the real question. Will Meryl Streep get nominated for The Devil Wears Prada 2?
I think she probably will. I think she will.
I'd say yeah, it's about 50-50 for me at the moment.
And that's where I'm like, come on, like
You
here's the
never
thing.
know,
The movie
but
isn't out yet. We haven't seen it. We're never like
I haven't even seen the first one.
it's
So
good. It's a good movie.
that's just what I've heard.
I would say it's certainly it's a girls' night movie for sure. Where like you and I are not the target audience, and that's fine. But we can both admit if we watched it, it's a good movie. It's enjoyable. But like some people talk about Devil Wears Prada to the point where like it's so. And I'm like calm down, like calm down. It's not that great. It's a good movie, but and also hard to be a bad movie when your four leads are Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci. What a shit crew and cast you got there. Like, come
Yes,
on.
all of them are returning. So
Exactly. So I do have the sense that it's either going to be really good or it's just going to be bad.
I'd be willing to bet it's going to be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I would assume it is, but I just the idea of it, the spectrum just really fits for that one. So, also we might have to table the idea of going to Disclosure Day in IMAX because AMC theaters is dead to me.
What they do this time.
So, as we've talked about, Blizzard of 2026 happened.
Uh huh.
The IMAX theater in Madison is in Fitchburg, which is a small suburb south of Madison. And AMC has the IMAX. Marcus doesn't have an IMAX. I exclusively go to Marcus theaters unless there's a reason not to. So Ab saw this like early screening for Project Hail Mary. I was like, oh, that's great. I'll be able to get a review out a couple days beforehand. Awesome. And also go check out that review because for once I'm not doing a review alone. Ab did the review with me. And it was really fun. And Ab is always a favorite of all of the viewers when she's on because it's just Ab being Ab. So we were super excited to go. Ab loves Project Hail Mary the book. And we bought our tickets like a week ahead of time, like almost 2 weeks ahead of time, actually. And we get to the theater and we went out to dinner quick beforehand, nothing fancy, and we're like, all right, cool, we get there. And there's just a mass of like 12 dudes just standing by the door and a bunch of cars in the parking lot, but it's just off. And we're like, are they closed? What's going on? All the lights in the building are off except that those small recess lighting just to say like someone could be in the building. The doors are locked. There's not a single posting up. There's not a single employee in there. It's like 3 minutes to when the movie's supposed to start, and everyone's like, "Yo, what the fuck?" And everyone's asking each other, "Did you get a notification? Did you get a notification?" It didn't matter if you were an AMC movie person, if you just bought your tickets off of AMC, but you weren't a movie account holder, if you bought them off Fandango. Nobody got a notification that the movie was canceled and they closed that day. And also, all due respect, by 5 to 6 hours at the very least, and I'm still being kind here, prior to when the movie was supposed to start, the weather was fine. It was not a danger to be on the roads anymore. So it's just like,
I've heard that before about AMC though, that their like customer service part is not very
it's
good.
fucking terrible. And then, better yet, Abs despondent because I was like, oh, hey, because I look and I saw a notification that morning, like, hey, go to, like, had I saw that notification weeks prior that Marcus was doing a 7 o'clock screening, I would have been like, I don't care about the IMAX. I care about going to see the movie. And I know Marcus will treat us properly. So we're going to Marcus plus an account holder there. We sprint over to Marcus because it's like 11 minutes away. And at first, I'm like, hey, let's just go to the Bride because I don't think we're going to make it because all the tickets that were left were like in the front row. And I was like, I don't want to look like this at Project Hail Mary and barely see it. And she's like, I don't want to see the Bride. I'm like, you just told me you want to see the Bride. And she's like, well, I want to see Project Hail Mary right now. I was like, okay. So I was like, all right, they have a 7:30 The Bride. If we can't get into that one, we'll go to the Bride. And she's like, okay, that's a plan. We got there. They sold us the 2 handicap seats because the movie had technically started, so they could sell us the 2 handicap seats, and that's how we watched Project Hail Mary. And once again, Marcus Theaters comes through when AMC fucking sucks. So AMC is dead to us. Okay, they're dead to us. So if we want to go do an IMAX screening of Disclosure Day together, I think we might have to go to Milwaukee.
Well, I don't know. I mean, nothing's dragged me out to the theater so far.
Disclosure Day looks really good. Also, because you love it, and at least is one of the few properties that gets you to pay attention, they just released the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer this morning.
I saw it.
How'd you like it?
It looks fine.
Yeah, I was pretty much the same thing. I'm like, I don't know if I'm really even interested in this movie. I'm gonna go
The
see
only
it. I go see almost everything now, though, so that's not saying
Yeah,
much.
I always try to avoid trailers, but when it comes to superhero stuff, I just don't care anymore. I'm like, whatever. I'll watch it. If
Yeah,
it looks good, I'll probably watch the movie, but if it doesn't interest me, Like I remember when Kraven the Hunter trailer came out, I watched it. I was like, okay, I'll avoid that as far away as possible.
I think that's
So
probably
like,
the right decision.
yeah,
I don't know. It's certainly something in which I was just like, I watched it and I was like, I just don't think they get what people are actually excited about. They're well,
uh,
the whole. So and I say that because for the last year, it's been rumored and then confirmed that Sadie Sink is in this movie, and she's
yeah, yeah.
probably playing a mutant. And the biggest reports are she's playing like Rachel Summers, who is eventually becomes the Phoenix, and she's essentially a kid of Cyclops and Jean Grey.
Yeah.
And
I did not know that was who she was supposed to be playing.
well, that's the rumor. Who knows if
I
it's
didn't
true
see
or not?
her.
She's
I
not
didn't
even
see
in
her
the
in the.
trailer.
Okay, I was gonna say I didn't see her in the trailer.
That was the whole reason I watched it. I was like, oh, like, are we going to confirm that there's a mutant? Are we going to keep going down the mutant route? That's awesome. Nothing. And I was just like, and then they just went into, oh, my friends forgot me. And I was like, I know that's a major thread. I know you're going to touch on that. I don't give a fuck in the trailer. I know I'm going to get that in the movie and I'll care about it in the movie. Show me the sizzle as to why I need to go see this movie.
Also, a weird choice to have Punisher in there, but that's just my view on it.
I think that's solely because they're trying to make the movie smaller and Punisher street level. They're trying to make it not world defining Spider Man. They're trying to make it street level
Oh, I
Spider
just meant
Man.
in terms of tones. Like two very contradictory
Well,
tones.
also, I think it's tough because Marvel still thinks that they can make Punisher with John Bernthal not this like crazy R-rated tone, but that's what Netflix did. They actually made what the Punisher would be, and that's why people liked it because they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is what the Punisher would actually be like." He's a street level fucking assassin killer who's just like scum will die, you know.
Is there's another Daredevil thing? Is that a movie or show?
Daredevil, yeah. So Daredevil Born Again was season 1 is out on Disney Plus. Came out last year, and
Uh,
then
so it's a show.
they're into season 2 right now. Or they
Uh,
haven't started it, but they're like all the stills have come out. They've announced it, like it's coming.
okay, so just another thing for me to avoid.
That's the worst part. Daredevil's some of the only good shit now, and I did.
I really like Daredevil, but I don't have the patience to watch another TV show.
I agree with you on that one. But this is going off the rails of Studio Ghibli and everything else. But we just wanted to cover a lot of movie news going forward. Next week on the show, I believe we are covering Hoosiers, or actually by next week, I mean this episode pretty much coming out today, and then we'll be doing Hoosiers on Saturday, if I recall correctly. And then we'll be doing our decades show. It might be flip flopped. We don't know, but you'll be getting those two this month. Along with that, we'll be finishing the movie tournament. So we'll be doing the greatest movie franchise tournament. Round 3 will be recorded soon, and as will the final. And along with that, we have another game show coming your way and a movie builder coming your way this month. So busy month for us. This is why we're burnt out and burnt to a crisp. So but
Mm-hmm.
beyond that, thank you guys so much for watching, listening, learning, lurking wherever you may be. It is appreciated. Come join us over on Those Davies Boys. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, stay up to date. And if you want to get some gaming content, follow us over on Twitch at Really Snappy or the Really Snappy Gaming channel. That's going to do it, folks. Thank you guys so much for watching. We love you. Peace, love, and hugs.
Bye.